Lin Shen, the boyfriend of Shui Jing who ranks second in her grade, says he traveled back in time from 10 years in the future. He pointed at me and said with deep emotion, "Qin Xiaolu. You're my future wife. I'm back to save you." He could describe the mole on the inside of my thigh and my habit of talking in my sleep. Amid the gasps from the small group, he took my hand. "Little dear, stop studying and come with me to make some money. I know how to get rich." Get rich? If I hadn't been reborn, I would have actually believed that. I tilted my head. "Sure. Why don't you tell me the winning numbers for the next lottery drawing first? Let's make a quick buck. How about it?" Shui Jing and this clique were all in cahoots, just to compete with me for the only spot available for that generous scholarship that day. In my previous life, Shui Jing sneaked a peek at my diary and discovered my secret crush on Lin Shen, so he came up with this underhanded scheme to knock me off the top spot in my grade. Lin Shen was so afraid that I might turn my life around by retaking the college entrance exam that he actually dragged me into a night of passion and took indecent photos of us. I begged him not to let me fall into the abyss, and promised that I would pass the exam with flying colors. I will absolutely not take revenge on him and Shui Jing, but he didn't believe a word of it. He looked down on me from above. "Qin Xiaolu, we've known each other since childhood, so I know exactly what kind of person you are. If you give you even the slightest chance, you'll doom Jingjing and me to eternal damnation. So either you become a slut that everyone despises, or you choose your own way to die." Oh, Lin Shen, you really do know me well, having been given a second chance at life. I looked at Lin Shen, who looked every bit the Oscar-winning actor, and couldn't help but nod in admiration. But everyone mistakenly assumed that I believed their lies. Oh my gosh, what era are we living in? Can you believe there are still people who believe in time travel? Qin Xiaolu. You must be crazy about Lin Shen, right? He's Shui Jing's boyfriend. You know. Exactly. Just look at her, she looks like she'd love to devour Lin Shen in one gulp. Lin Shen, however, was remarkably resolute. He stepped right between me and the others. It was as if it were protecting me. "I won't let you treat Xiaolu this way. She's my beloved, and she'll be by my side for the rest of my life." Shui Jing played along completely, clutching her chest as if in great pain. With tears welling up in her eyes, she stepped forward and grabbed Lin Shen's arm. "Lin Shen, what are you talking about? I'm your girlfriend. Have you forgotten our promise? Don't you want me anymore?" Lin Shen shoved her away. "Get lost. You traitorous piece of trash." Everyone was putting on a show, trying to force me to believe what I was seeing. They thought I hadn't seen Lin Shen brush against the back of Shui Jing's hand as he pushed her away. Ugh. That's really lame. But even though it was so clumsy, in my previous life, I was foolish enough to believe it. I took a step back and waved to Lin Shen. "Never mind. If we're meant to be together someday, a year or two won't make a difference. Lin Shen, let's all focus on our studies for now. We'll worry about the future later." As soon as those words were spoken, everyone visibly panicked. Shui Jing grabbed my arm and asked in disbelief, "You've had a crush on Lin Shen for all these years, and now that he's right in front of you, you're not going to take him?" Lin Shen also stepped forward and put his arm around my shoulders. "Xiaolu, the reason we study hard is so we can make more money in the future. Now that I know how to get rich, there's no need for us to take the long way around, right? I don't want to wait for you any longer. I've waited so many years already. I know just how happy I am when I'm with you." The mood in the small group shifted, and they began to join in the commotion. Yeah, if I knew who my soulmate was, I'd go snatch him up right away. Only the one who isn't loved is the other woman. "Shui Jing, just back off." Shui Jing burst into tears, but as she covered her face, not a single tear was visible for quite some time. "Wah. Lin Shen, I'm begging you. Don't leave me." Lin Shen gave her shoulder a dramatic shove. "Get lost. All I want right now is to be with Xiaolu." I burst out laughing. Lin Shen's face lit up. "Xiaolu, are you happy?" I nodded. "Yeah. I'd be even happier if you could slap her across the face a couple more times." "Lin Shen, since you like me so much, you wouldn't want to deny me this little request, would you?" Lin Shen's smile froze on his face in an instant. Shui Jing also pulled her hands away from her face and glared at me with hatred. Don't you dare. It's already generous of me to let you have my boyfriend and get too big for your britches. I shrugged. Guess I don't love him enough after all. Never mind. Then, we'll talk about it later. Lin Shen grabbed me impatiently. Don't. I turned my head and looked at him thoughtfully. Either you slap her right now, or we're done. Lin Shen couldn't hide the anger in his eyes, but he was still trying hard to sweet-talk me. Oh, hitting people is so wrong. If you don't trust me, you can test me however you like. I know everything about you, the mole on the inside of your thigh, your habit of talking in your sleep, and even the layout of your room. Little dear, you have no idea how blissful you'll feel when I caress you 10 years from now. My face instantly turned as red as a tomato. My heart skipped a beat. There's something I just can't figure out. Although our family and the Lin family have been close friends for generations, but since men.Instead women are different, he almost never comes over to my place, not to mention coming into my bedroom. Then how does he know so many of my secrets? Wow. Chen Xiaolu is really into it. Are you just enjoying it all by yourself? Yeah. Lin Shen, what's it like? Describe it for us. I felt so sick that I almost threw up. Her voice trembling. She glared at him. Fine. Your parents spend all day studying the lottery, so you must know the winning numbers for the last few draws, right? Why don't you just tell me the winning numbers for this draw first, so I can make a quick buck? How about it? Lin Shen's face turned pale in an instant. He clenched his fists nervously, his veins bulging. Shui Jing stepped in to save him. Chen Xiaolu, don't go too far. You're lucky enough that Lin Shen is even dating you and now you want to get rich overnight. You're way too greedy. I laughed. He was the one who told me to test him however I wanted. I chose a test in his area of strength, isn't that cutting him some slack? I could see that Lin Shen was having trouble breathing. Immediately, he seemed to have made up his mind. His eyes fixed on me. Okay. I can't remember the numbers for the big prize, but I still remember the numbers for the smaller prizes. I reached out to stop him. Wait a minute. Don't let anyone else know, just tell me. Lin Shen felt a secret sense of joy. He was just trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. If you guess right, it's a done deal. If I'm wrong, it doesn't matter, I was the only one who heard it. So he could just say I misheard the number. So he leaned over and whispered a string of numbers in my ear. The small group was fully aware of his plan. Oh my gosh. They're so stingy they don't even think of us when it's time to hand out money. That's right. Lin Shen, you're putting romance before friendship. I'm never going to hang out with you again. Shui Jing could no longer hide the mocking smile on her face. Lin Shen took my hand. Come on. Let's go buy a lottery ticket. We'll skip class together this afternoon. I shook off his hand. No. I'll skip class on my own. You go back to class and make sure to take good notes so I can review them tonight. Lin Shen nodded vigorously and kept reminding me. Remember the number I told you, didn't make a mistake when you buy it. A few people watched me walk out of the school grounds and didn't leave until they heard the bell ring. First, I called my mom and asked her to help me get a day off. After that, I turned around and went to the lottery outlet. Just because you don't know the winning numbers doesn't mean I don't. In his previous life, Lin Shen's father was just one spot away from winning the 300,000 prize. He was so angry that he kept going on and on about it to me for days. Just for something like that. He tricked me into going to the countryside for 3 days. They absolutely wouldn't let me come back to class. He also threw all the textbooks I was carrying into the lake. He said I should devote myself entirely to him. In this life, as I looked at the lottery ticket in my hand, I couldn't help but laugh. Lin Shen, I wonder what expression Shui Jing will have when she finds out I really won the prize. I'm really looking forward to it. When I got home, my mom asked me worriedly, Xiaolu, what's wrong? Are you feeling sick? I was known as a model student who never skipped school or skipped class. During my 3 years of high school, I was never late or left early, let alone took a day off. I shook my head to reassure her and Dad, Mom, There's something I need to talk to you about. Under my parents' worried gaze, I told them about how Lin Shen and some other classmates had tricked me. Dad angrily slammed his fist down on the table. That little brat, how dare he deceive my daughter like that? Does he want to die? Fine. Since he knows how to make big money now, there's no need for me to help his dad get back on his feet. Tomorrow, I'm going to kick his dad right out of our company. Lin Shen's parents had always been prone to taking shortcuts, and after they both lost their jobs, they began obsessively studying the lottery. As a result, the couple became poorer and poorer. So I turned to Dad for help. My dad runs a store, and business is booming. Since a new store was about to open, he decided to let Lin Shen's parents come along and make some money. I was so happy that I hugged my dad. I'm just a high school student, why do I have to take on a whole bunch of people all by myself? My parents are my rock, with them backing me up. I don't believe Lin Shen and Shui Jing can screw me over like they did in my previous life. My mom drove me back to school. As soon as I walked into the classroom, the physics teacher glared at me. Qin Xiaolu, why did you skip class? Before I could say a word, Shui Jing stood up. Teacher, Qin Xiaolu said she wants to get rich, so she skipped class to buy a lottery ticket. If you don't believe me, search her pockets, the ticket is definitely in there. The small group all covered their mouths and giggled. Even Lin Shen was laughing so hard he was doubled over on the table, his whole body shaking. But I calmly shook my head. Teacher, my mom already asked my homeroom teacher for a leave of absence. She just took me to the hospital for a checkup. The physics teacher frowned and nodded toward the class. Wait 5 minutes. Everyone, I'm going to check with your homeroom teacher. No sooner had she stepped out the door than the little clique started cheering as one. Wow, did you win the jackpot? If you hit the jackpot, you'll have to treat us. Ha ha ha. Skipping class to buy a lottery ticket. And you're the top student in your grade. Are you so obsessed with money? I remained unfazed by their taunts. Who knows who'll be laughing and who'll be crying 2 days from now. Soon, the physics teacher returned with the homeroom teacher. My homeroom teacher first asked me with concern. How are you? What did the doctor say? I smiled and shook my head. It's nothing, I just have a bit of an upset stomach. Immediately afterward, the homeroom teacher looked at Shui Jing and said coldly, Shui Jing, come to my office after class. Shui Jing froze. I didn't skip class. Why? Why are you calling me? The homeroom teacher looked serious. You were secretly reading Qin Xiaolu's diary during gym class. The security cameras caught it all. The 500 yuan that was tucked inside her diary is missing. And we need your cooperation with the investigation. Shui Jing was completely petrified. She turned to look at me. Her words caught in her throat as she stared at me in disbelief. Yeah, what should she say? To be honest, are you saying you sneaked a peek at my diary, discovered my secret, and then set me up with Lin Shen? Then all that hard work would have been for nothing. Which is more valuable, 500 yuan or the Animo Yunyuan scholarship from Tianyu Group? I'm sure she can tell the difference. Shui Jing was trembling all over, and tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't steal your money. As I looked at Shui Jing, who was feigning pity right in front of me, I couldn't muster even a shred of sympathy. In her previous life, she distributed the compromising photos to everyone. She certainly didn't seem so pitiful when she forced me to jump off the rooftop. Oh, really? Then why was my money still there before gym class? Did the money disappear after you looked through my diary during gym class? My classmate Xiaoyu scratched her head. Yeah, before gym class. Xiaolu even showed me her money and said she'd treat me to a popsicle after class. But when we came back to get the money, we found it was gone. If it wasn't you, then who else could it have been? Shui Jing, in a fit of rage, flung the books off her desk. I said it wasn't there. So it wasn't. That page in your diary is red to begin with. The security camera must have captured it wrong. I walked straight to my desk and pulled my diary out of my backpack. Then he turned the pages one by one for everyone to see, and not a single page was read. The homeroom teacher frowned deeply as she closed my diary and glanced at the cover. That's right. It's the same diary shown in the surveillance footage. I lifted my chin. Shui Jing, do you dare let everyone take a look inside your backpack? If my money isn't there, then I'll admit I falsely accused you. I'll apologize to you in front of the entire school, teachers and students alike, and write a letter of self-criticism, which I'll post online to openly accept criticism. Shui Jing slammed her hand down on the desk, which shook as if it were about to collapse at any moment. Fine. I'll watch. She pulled out her backpack, turned it upside down, and flung its contents all over the floor. A curious classmate went up and looked through it carefully, but didn't find my money inside. Huh. No. Qin Xiaolu, you're wronging Shui Jing. Exactly. Are you afraid she'll crush you and take first place? So you're deliberately framing her, right? The homeroom teacher looked at me in confusion. 2. The last class at 11:00 am. Is P.E. At 11:20. I saw Shui Jing rush out of the classroom building, beaming with joy. Shortly after that, at 11:22, I returned to the classroom. He deliberately leafed through his diary. Right after that, I ran straight to my homeroom teacher's office to tell her that I'd lost my money. The homeroom teacher immediately checked the surveillance footage and watched the entire time from when I left until I returned. Shui Jing was the only one who ever touched my diary. But if the money isn't found, there's no way to be 100% sure that she's the thief. But how could I possibly let her get away with it so easily? Shui Jing, I've actually been reborn. Now that I'm back, I've set traps for you and Lin all over the place. Seeing that no one had noticed the money she dropped, Shui Jing began to feel smug. She gave her backpack another little shake. What do you think? Are you satisfied? But Xiao Yu, who was sitting next to her, gasped. Oh my gosh, what's that? A red triangle could be faintly seen inside the backpack. Xiao Yu reached out and tugged at it. The 500 yuan, folded into a small stack and tied with a thin string, was hidden at the bottom of her backpack. It could have been a sure thing, but when Shui Jing gave it a shake, she loosened the string, and so the money started unwinding. Coil by coil, Shui Jing gasped. No way. How could this be? Everyone covered their mouths in shock. No way. The second highest ranked student in the grade, and he actually stole someone's money. What's so strange about that? The second place student is bound to have a grudge against the first place student. That's so gross, trying to win a scholarship while stealing other people's money. Shui Jing is a student from a low-income family. There's no way she could have that much money. Shui Jing was completely flustered. She reached out to shake Lin Shen, who was standing diagonally behind her. Hurry up and stand up for me. I didn't steal any money. I didn't steal it. My gaze was cold and intense as I stared straight at her. So my money just ran over on its own and into your backpack. Did my money tie itself up and get tied to the bottom of my backpack? Lin Shen clenched his back teeth so hard they creaked. Qin Xiaolu, that's enough. I can vouch for Xiao Jing's character. There's no way she would steal anything. That's really funny. That scammer stood as a guarantor for that good for nothing. Do you guys think I, Qin Xiaolu, was reborn for nothing? I turned to face my homeroom teacher. Teacher, I'm going to call the police. Shui Jing has broken the law. Shui Jing immediately lost her temper. What right do you have to call the police? I didn't steal that money at all. You must have secretly put it in my backpack. I glared at her. The homeroom teacher and I watched the surveillance footage together. Whether it was played or not is on record. The police will naturally make their own judgment. It was only then that Shui Jing realized she was completely screwed. But she was right. I was the one who put the money in her backpack. Like I said, ever since I came back after being reborn, I've been digging holes for myself at every turn. After coming back to life, the first thing I did was get 2 identical journals. It took me all night to recreate another one. There is money tucked inside the book, and one of the pages is red. That is the one Shui Jing was looking at. The other book didn't have any money in it, one I took out to show my classmates. As for the money in Shui Jing's backpack, I slipped it into her backpack during the second break when no one was looking. When reviewing surveillance footage, be sure to review the footage from the start of the incident through to the end. How could anyone look ahead? I know this was a very risky move on my part, but the arrow is on the string, and I have no choice but to shoot. In life, everyone has to take a few risks. Just like Shui Jing and Lin Shen, they bet that I love Lin Shen to the point of life and death. When you love someone, you can lose yourself. Didn't they win the bet in their previous life? It's about time my luck turned around in this life. As soon as the homeroom teacher heard that I was going to call the police, he hurried over to stop me. Xiao Lu, you and Shui Jing have been classmates for 3 years, still just a child. If you call the police, you'll ruin her life. The teacher believes that after this lesson, Shui Jing will definitely turn over a new leaf. I'm asking you, teacher, to give her one more chance. Something like this would damage the school's reputation. So the homeroom teacher would naturally try to stop me. Besides, I didn't really mean to hold on so tight. When the police investigate a case, it's not as simple as a teacher reviewing surveillance footage. I hesitated for a moment, and Lin Shen stepped forward, tugged at my sleeve, and whispered in my ear, "Honey, don't let that bitch Shui Jing get to you. Get the money back, and I'll give you an extra 1,000. Calm down. I'll take you out for a nice meal tonight, okay?" Taking the opportunity, I nodded at him. All right. Then, I won't call the police, but I demand that a public reprimand be issued to the entire school. This is the best possible outcome. But Shui Jing was absolutely against it. The Tianyu Group's scholarship program is clearly outlined. Awards are given to students who rank first in they are grade on the college entrance exam. Scholarship recipients must also demonstrate good character. A school-wide announcement was tantamount to branding Shui Jing as a student of poor character. Even if she ruins me, there's no way she'll get that money. Before evening study hall, a small group gathered around her to offer advice. She was crying so hard that her tears streamed down her face like raindrops on pear blossoms, as if she had suffered the greatest injustice. You won't get that money, and don't let her get it either. Exactly. I just can't stand that she always comes in first. What gives? Her family isn't short on money, so why does she have to compete with our Xiao Jing? Doesn't she know how to be considerate? Shui Jing blew her nose and glared at me with hatred as I walked in. Since I'm not going to get that money anyway, there's no reason for me to give up my boyfriend to her. She stood up and walked straight over to me. Qin Xiaolu, do you really think Lin Shen traveled back in time to save you? To be honest, he lied to you on purpose just to help me get the scholarship. He doesn't love you at all. The sight of you makes him want to throw up. He was just messing with you. We plan to bring you down from your pedestal and make your life a living hell. I covered my mouth in surprise and slowly backed away. This can't be possible. Shui Jing gradually became more and more excited, pressing her advantage step by step. Ha ha ha. Surprised. Thrilled. Lin Shen would do anything for me, including killing you. I shook my head in disbelief. No, that's impossible. He must have traveled back in time. You're lying to me. You're lying to me. Shui Jing shoved me hard. Stop daydreaming. From now on, he's still my boyfriend. Get lost. I burst into tears and cried. I don't believe it. If he hadn't traveled back in time, how would he know the winning numbers? The lottery numbers he gave me: 1 300, 000, a full 300, 000. He hates me so much. Why would he make me rich? Shui Jing's laughter stopped abruptly, and the smug expressions on the small group's faces froze. Her eyes widened, and she leaned in and asked me, "What did you say? You won the lottery?" With snot and tears streaming down my face, I nodded frantically. Yeah. It's 300, 000. If you don't believe me, go ask the lottery shop owner. Shui Jing forced a smile. That's impossible. Lin Shen didn't travel back in time at all. You must be lying to me. I wiped away my tears and looked up at her. Then how does he know so much about me? Shui Jing glanced sideways. It was that little girl next door who told him all that, wasn't it? Oh, I see. I stared at her in bewilderment. Is that what Lin Shen told you? But there's no little girl living next door to me at all. Yes. They just moved away. We used to hang out all the time. But now that a rift has developed between them, well then, let me stir things up a bit. Surely 300,000 can't be fake, right? Shui Jing was completely dumbfounded. What did you say? I stood up and looked her straight in the eye. What I say doesn't matter. What matters is that I've made plans with Mom and Dad to go pick up the prize this week. I bought that lottery ticket today using the numbers Lin Shen gave me. If you don't believe me, you can go ask around. I spoke with such certainty that Shui Jing had no choice but to believe me. Her legs gave way, and she almost lost her balance. A few people from the small group immediately stepped forward to support her. So Shen really did travel back in time. He was putting on a show for Yuz. It wasn't to bring down Chen Xiaolu at all. He was trying to ruin Xiao Jing. Damn. Such a great deal with all that money. And he didn't tell us. I don't even want to hear the crap they're spouting. I just want to keep appealing. Yeah. That's right. We suggest you turn on each other. Shui Jing's face was deathly pale as she exchanged glances with her small group. Some of them ran out to check with the lottery shop owner. Someone was keeping a close eye on me in the classroom, afraid I might pull some kind of stunt. Some people even went to my house to try to get information out of my parents. I quietly returned to my seat and opened the notes Lin Shen had made for me. It was the English class I missed this afternoon because I skipped it. The notebook is filled with all sorts of incorrect information that was intentionally written down. But I've already secretly changed them all. I've also included the English essay prompt from that year's college entrance exam below. A few minutes later, Lin Shen walked into the classroom, beaming, carrying a bag of snacks. I rushed over right away. Lin Shen, did you buy this for me? You're so sweet. He still didn't know what was going on. So when he saw me like that, he had no choice but to go with the flow. Yeah. Here. Have some. You had a rough afternoon. So I bought this just to cheer you up. Comfort me. Pfft. It's full of Shui Jing's favorite foods. I picked up the plastic bag and gave him a cheerful wink. I saw the notes you took for me.Instead so detailed. Is that the English essay prompt from this year's college entrance exam at the end? Lin Shen. You're so kind. You know I'm not good at writing essays. Yet you still took the time to write this down and share it with me. Lin Shen raised an eyebrow and was just about to say something when Shui Jing, rushing over, interrupted him. She was holding her cell phone. The word must have already spread through the clique. Shui Jing's eyes were red and teary. Lin Shen, are you serious? So you really did travel back in time? You lied to me. You actually lied to me. Lin Shen was baffled. He had no idea what Shui Jing was up to. He thought Shui Jing was still working with him. So he lifted his chin. That's right. I told you before, if you dare pick on Xiaolu again, I'll never let you off the hook. A small group of people rushed forward, all talking at once. Lin Shen, you fucking bastard. We get along so well. And yet you won't help us guys make some money. Exactly 300,000. If we split it among the few of us, each of us could get several 10,000. You just gave her all that. Even if you two end up getting married, you can't forget about us. The deeper Lin went, the less he understood. He looked at this for a moment. Then at that for a moment. It wasn't until Shui Jing had cried until her eyes were red that he realized something was fishy. He reached out and grabbed Shui Jing, but Shui Jing pushed him away. Don't touch me. We're breaking up. Go be with that slut Chen Xiaolu. She turned and rushed out of the classroom. Lin Shen was stunned. He wanted to run after him, but small groups surrounded him one by one. After a long back and forth, it finally dawned on him what had happened. He clenched his fists and yelled at me. You fucking won the lottery. You bought a ticket with the numbers I gave you, and you actually won. By then, the whole group had already rushed out to comfort Shui Jing. There were only the two of us in the classroom. I nodded. Go ask my parents. It's 300,000. How could I possibly lie? Lin Shen was so furious that his chest was heaving, and the look in his eyes was sharp enough to cut through me. Okay. Well, you'd better remember how nice I am to you, my future wife. He spoke these words slowly and deliberately, then turned and left the classroom. When Shui Jing returned, she was clearly in much better spirits. It must have been Lin Shen who calmed her down. That goes without saying, doesn't it? They checked the winning numbers. In this lifetime, Lin Shen still has only one parent, but I managed to pick all the right numbers, without missing a single one. A small group of people were whispering behind my back, saying I must have won the prize because I bought the wrong ticket number. So they took advantage of the situation and continued to have Lin Shen play the role of my loving future husband. One minute he asks me out to dinner, the next he asks me to go see a movie. Every time I agreed without hesitation. It's just that I never pay. I'd always look at Lin Shen with a smile. You can't expect me to pay for it, can you? If that's the case, I'm not going. Lin Shen gritted his teeth and made the payments one after another. He quickly spent every last penny of his allowance. I've accidentally stumbled upon him and Shui Jing on a few secret dates. Shui Jingdu complained to him. How long has it been since I last had a snack? You spent all your money on her. Lin Shen gently reassured her. Aren't I doing this for you, too? You see, every time I ask her out, all I do is buy a group buying deal or get the tickets. I never go with her. Yes. Lin Shen always makes me go out and have fun by myself. He stayed in the classroom to study. Then he handed me a notebook full of mistakes and told me to review it. But every time I took the notebook, I would gasp in surprise in front of Shui Jing. Oh my gosh, Lin Shen. You're so nice, you gave me the answers again. And after the incident with the 300,000 lottery ticket last time, Shui Jing's gaze wasn't quite as determined as before. Her suspicions about Lin Shen grew stronger by the day, but she spent all day watching what I was doing and was often distracted. His grades have also dropped significantly. The night before the college entrance exam, my parents invited the Lin Shen family over for dinner. Lin Shen's parents are already deep in debt. They asked, in a fawning tone, when Dad's new store would open. Lin Shen's mother beamed. I'm getting so bored staying at home, so I thought I'd go work at the store. Lin Shen's dad kept toasting my dad. Old Chin, if you're too busy, just let me know. I can run the new store all by myself. Dad gently pushed the drink he was offering away. Half the wine had been spilled, and everyone's expressions turned grim, especially in the deep forest. It wasn't until then that I realized he actually hated the financial support our family was giving him. Perhaps Shui Jing was part of the reason he wanted to kill me, but it is definitely not the main cause. He hates He hates my whole family. That hatred made him keep his fists clenched tightly. He probably thinks that by bringing me down, he'll bring down my whole family. That's why he's been putting up with it all this time, even though his own parents were being humiliated in such a setting. He did not stand up to defend them. In my past life, when I turned out the way I did, my parents really couldn't go on living anymore. They held my body in their arms and wept until they were hoarse. My nose started to tingle, so I pulled out a tissue and wiped the corner of my eye. Seeing this, Lin Shen couldn't help but let the corners of his mouth turn up. My actions seemed to give him courage. He stood up and said to my dad in a haughty tone, Uncle Chin, Xiao Lu and I are dating, you know that, right? Dad raised an eyebrow. So what? What are you trying to say? Lin Shen cleared his throat twice. I'm sure you don't want to upset your own daughter. So why not split the two stores between my dad and me? That way, we'll all be better off. Dad smiled, interlaced his fingers, and glanced at him absently. Hey, kid, not only do I know you two are dating, but I also know you're about to strike it rich. As soon as Mr. and Mrs. Lin heard this, they looked at Lin Shen in surprise. Lin Shen's body stiffened, and half of his earlier arrogance vanished. Dad continued, I hear you traveled back in time from 10 years in the future. Ha ha ha. You're saying my daughter will be your wife someday. Do you know how to get rich? That's great. I was actually worried your parents wouldn't be able to turn over. Now that they can rely on you, I, as an outsider, won't get involved in your family's affairs. Hey, old Lin. I won't take you to the new store. It's just a small business, your family wouldn't even give it a second glance. Let your good son lead you to prosperity. But don't you dare say he's trying to trick my daughter. If he's deceiving my daughter and making her skip school all the time, then it's not just a matter of not letting you guys join me in opening the store. Dad's final words rang out with great conviction. If Lin Shen's words were anything, they were a veiled threat. In that case, what my dad said amounts to a formal declaration of war. He stood up and took my hand. Dad doesn't approve of you dating him, so break up with him right now. I looked at Lin Shen with a smile. Lin Shen, I don't care whether this time travel story of yours is true or not, I'll never marry you in this lifetime. I never agreed to be your girlfriend either, it's always been just your one-sided infatuation. If you dare to tell anyone else that I'm your girlfriend, I'll sue you for defamation. Lin Shen staggered and nearly lost his balance. And Lin's father, in a fit of rage, gave him a hand. He rushed over and slapped Lin Shen right across the face. The blow sent Lin Shen spinning around twice before he fell to the ground. You little bastard. Did you go and trick Xiaolu? Lin's mother was so furious her face turned pale. Everyone else is studying hard. But you won't study. Instead, you go around tricking people to make a fortune. What are you up to? Lin's father kicked him in the stomach. You've ruined our family. You've completely ruined it, just wait. I'm going to beat you to a pulp today. Lin's mother didn't feel the slightest bit of pity. She was even standing there cheering on Lin's father. That's right. Beat him to death. Beat him to death to give the Chen family closure. You don't study yourself. And you drag the top student in the grade out of class with you, you bitch. The couple took turns punching and kicking him, beating Lin Shen until he was howling in pain. Mom, Dad, stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. It was all Shui Jing's idea, she made me do it. Wah. Shui Jing said she'd give me a third of her 1 million scholarship. I was just thinking of what's best for this family. Lin Shen's parents stopped fighting and exchanged a glance. What are they up to? It looks like Shui Jing is in for a rough time. The next day, Shui Jing and I were in the same exam room. I answered all the questions calmly, with a smile on my face the whole time. That really made her nervous. She was fidgeting and kept glancing at me from time to time. Even the proctor couldn't stand it anymore and kept reminding her not to look around. Cheating on exams can affect your entire life. So I hope you'll all think this through carefully. Shui Jing's face flushed instantly. She's in a bad frame of mind. The teacher's words have made her unable to even hold her pen steady. After turning in my exam, I ran into her on the playground. I happily moved closer to her. Hey, Shui Jing. Do you remember when I showed you the notes Lin Shen gave me before the exam? He's so nice to me, all the test questions he gave me were on the exam. Do you think he's revealing a secret of the heavens? Will he face retribution? Shui Jing's chest heaved with anger. So he really did travel back in time. He was out to set me up the whole time. I watched Shui Jing storm off in a huff and shrugged. I don't know if he's trying to set you up, but I definitely am. I was in my element during the exams over the next few days. After all, I've taken the exam once before, so I remember the questions clearly. Shui Jing, however, was a world apart from who she was in her previous life. This time, I scored a high mark of 700. While Shui Jing only scored a little over 400. She doesn't even qualify for a regular undergraduate degree. All they can do is watch helplessly as I go to Tsinghua. And don't even get me started on Lin Shen. That academic underachiever. His parents dragged him along and ran over to Shui Jing's house, where they caused quite a scene. Your daughter talked my son into doing something bad. And now our whole family is in trouble. If your family doesn't give us an explanation today, we won't let this go. The two of them started trading harsh insults right off the bat. It eventually turned into a scuffle involving 6 people. Shui Jing beat Lin Shen while hurling a torrent of abuse at him. You bastard. How dare you turn the tables on me? You spent all your money on that slut. And you even gave her the college entrance exam questions. Lin Shen was taken aback and looked at Shui Jing in disbelief. What college entrance exam questions did I give her? My notes are all about problems I got wrong. How could they possibly include actual college entrance exam questions? There definitely is. I saw it with my own eyes. Shui Jing reached out to slap Lin Shen, but her mother beat her to it. It struck her squarely on the side of her face. Are you brain dead? Or did you turn into a pig? Do you actually believe in time travel? Shui Jing's dad was so angry he could have bitten his teeth off. I told you not to buy her a cell phone. But you wouldn't listen. Now look at her, she spends all day glued to her novels. It's ruined her brain. And now she's hooking up with some broke kid with blonde hair. Lin's parents were furious. Who are you calling a poor little punk? Say that again. The two of them barely had a minute to catch their breath before they were at each other's throats again. I was sitting a short distance away, drinking coffee, when I took out my phone and dialed 110. Officer, there's a group fight going on here. Later. All 6 of them were taken to the police station. 15 days of detention. Lin Shen and Shui Jing had no choice but to say goodbye to college. I successfully received a scholarship of 1 million. A 7-digit number with 6 zeros sit looks really pleasing to the eye. That day, I ran into Lin Shen and Shui Jing, who had just been released from prison. On the street, I happily jumped in front of them. I held up my phone to show them. Look, I got a scholarship, it's a lot of money. Thank you all. The 2 of them, disheveled and unkempt, glared at me. Shui Jing was the first to speak up. Qin Xiaolu, how on earth did you find out about the college entrance exam questions? I tilted my head. Lin Shen told me that. Lin Shen roared. I didn't time travel back at all. Tell me. How on earth did you find out the lottery numbers and the college entrance exam questions? I burst out laughing and waved at them. Want to know my secret? Maybe in the next life. For the rest of your lives. Let the secret be a hair stuck in your throats. I can't spit it out. And I can't swallow it. May you lie awake at night, torn by anxiety. As for me, I'm not going to play along with your antics anymore. I'm going to pursue the bright future that has always been mine.